Hello and welcome to another episode of the ZTV Sports Report, your home for all things Akron Zips athletics. I'm your host Megan Williams.
And I'm Zach Leininger.
And today we will be continuing our coverage of all the spring sports while finishing our coverage of the men's basketball team. So don't go anywhere, because the ZTV Sports Report starts now. To start off today's episode, we are going to be taking a look at the men's basketball team, so let's send it over to Wes and Taz, who covered their last two games of the season.
What's up, everybody? This is Wes with your ZTV basketball update. Today, I will be covering the MAC tournament game for the Zips and Kent. I gotta say, I'm pretty hyped because Akron beat Kent with the score of 62-61. Considering that this is the MAC championship, this might be the clutchest victory in the history of college basketball. Everyone on this team did amazing. Ali scored 18 points, and he made 3 3-point shots. Enrique Freeman scored 17 points, and he made 9 rebounds. Another top player was Nate Johnson, who scored 11 points, and he made 2 3-point shots. The top scorers for Kent State included Von Cameron Davis with 21 points, Jalen Sullinger with 19 points, and Giovanni Santiago with 7 points. I would like to again congratulate our team for conquering the MAC tournament. The Zips have shown the hard work, dedication, skill, and discipline necessary in order to win this tournament. I say this is a well-earned victory. That's all I have for your sports update today. This is Wes, and go Zips!
Hello, sports fans. Taz here with ZTV Sports Report. Today, we're diving into the showdown between Akron and Creighton University's men's basketball game. The game took place at the PPG Paints Arena, where Akron unfortunately fell short, finishing with 60 points compared to Creighton's 77 points. Despite the outcome, our standout player, Enrique Freeman, stole the spotlight, racking up an impressive 21 points. Ali also made his mark with 14 points, and Sammy Hunter chipped in with 7 points, contributing to our total 26 rebounds, 1 block, and 5 steals. Despite facing 20 personal fouls, our team maintained a strong performance throughout. Creighton University, however, put on a formidable display, with Ryan Kalkbrenner leading the charge with 23 points, followed by Trey Alexander with 19, and Baylor Shireman with 15 points, helping them reach a total of 77 points and secure 38 rebounds. Overall, it was an intense matchup, with both teams showing their strengths. Thanks for joining us for this recap. Until next time, this is Taz signing off.
Thank you, Taz and Wes. So, Zach, coming into this MAC tournament, I'm not going to sugarcoat it. I was kind of scared for them. We had some uncharacteristic losses at the end of our season, which is not a good way to enter a tournament. But we won the first 2 games of this tournament, leading us to the championship game. And we played Kent State, which is always fun for sure. This was at a Rocket Mortgage Fieldhouse, so only like 30 minutes up the road. Not that far for us. And this game was crazy. Like, I did not expect it to be as close as it was, but the final score was 62-61. And we got the last point thanks to the Kent State player randomly deciding to foul us. I don't know what was going through his brain, but thanks, Kent State player. That was the only reason we won that game. Good job on Greg Tribble for making those 2 free throws. That was exactly what we needed. So what do you have to say about this Kent State game?
Yeah, I mean, as you mentioned, this game was far closer than we expected it to be.
Yeah.
Coming into this game, Akron it ended up falling to the 2 seed from how the regular season ended. Kent came in as the 8 seed. No one expected Kent to make this run. It seemed like to me it was between Toledo and Akron at the end here. But I mean, we have to give a lot of credit to Kent State, as both coaches mentioned. Kent State, from the start of this tournament all the way up to the championship, they just played extremely well. They were they got hot, as often happens during the March Madness season. This team was no different. They got hot. They were firing on all cylinders. They were just playing really good. They were playing really good team basketball, and were playing well through their stars. As we see, Von Cameron Davis dropped 21 after having 26 earlier in the tournament. Jalen Solinger had 19, was hitting some crucial threes from outside. And like I said, Kent just played an all-around good game of basketball, but ultimately Akron was the better team in this game.
Yeah.
Like I said, it did come down to that questionable foul at the end.
Yeah.
It seemed like Rollins here thought that I think he thought they were down instead of up. But in either case, Akron snuck away with this victory. They ended up they didn't play the prettiest game. They were sloppy in a lot of ways, like with all these 6 turnovers. But a big game from a guy like Nate Johnson, hit a couple crucial threes, which he's not known for. Ali came through again with 18 points. Enrique 17, 9 rebounds, 1 shy of a double again.
So sad.
Like you said, they did what they needed to do. They came away with the win. And advance to the tournament, which at the end of the day is all that matters.
Yeah. So after this game, we went to our March Madness matchup, which was Creighton. That we always knew this game was going to be a rough time. They're in the Big East, and Big East schools are always extremely hard to play against. We held our own for a really long time, but we ended up losing 77-60, sadly. So what did you have to say about this game?
Yeah, I mean, you pretty much said exactly what I was thinking. This was not going to be an easy win for Akron to come away with. Creighton was the 3 seed. Akron was the 14th seed. You never expect these lower seeds to win the games. It's not normally how it goes. We're not used to playing a team like Creighton. But that being said, Akron started off phenomenal. Enrique Freeman hit 3 huge threes at the end of the game.
Yeah.
The Zips were off to a hot start, and it felt like up, even at halftime, 39-34, it felt like a game that the Zips had a chance of winning.
Yeah.
Just unfortunately, the size and the chemistry of Creighton proved to be too much. I mean, Enrique Freeman still had 21 of 14, and he tied the single season record for double doubles, which I thought was insane.
That's amazing.
It's just insane from a mid-major player, from a mid-major team. It's just not something you expect, but it's amazing to see. But that being said, the size of Ryan Kalkbrenner, 7'1", was just it just proved to be too much for the Zips. I mean, all their starters scored in double digits. They didn't have to rely too much on the bench. And then probably the biggest thing was how well the three-point team they were. 58% in this game. They were top 10 in three-pointers attempted, three-pointers made. So that was just something I was expecting to see. That's something that ended up happening. So in the end, Akron put up a great fight. I would say I don't think I really could have asked for much more. They really hung in there. They didn't back down. But at the end of the day, they didn't have enough in the tank. They weren't able to come away with the win, and but it was still a great season overall.
Yeah, for sure. I think it's fair to say we had a phenomenal season. I am really excited to see what this team does next season. There's gonna definitely be a change in personnel just because we had 5 seniors, but we'll see what they do next season.
Yeah.
Softball will be the next sport of this episode, so let's send it over to Davion, who covered their matchup versus Cleveland State.
How you doing, Zip fans? On Monday, March 25th, our Lady Zips took on Cleveland State Vikings softball team. Brooke, who was number 15 for Cleveland State, had a batting average of 3, 1 strikeout, and her left on base percentage was 1. Becky Huroski, who was number 12, had a batting average of 2 for the game. Emma Gilkerson, number 26, had a batting average of 2, 1 run, 2 home runs, and 1 batted in. However, despite the efforts of the Lady Vikings, our Lady Zips took the game with an inning score of 9-1. Alex Campbell, number 9 of our Akron Zips, had a batting average of 3, 2 home runs, 4 runs batted in percentage. Delaney Jenkinson, number 22, had a batting average of 1, 2 runs, 1 home run, and 2 base on ball. Congratulations to our Lady Zips on winning the game against Cleveland State. Go Zips!
Thank you, Davion. Well, this was just an efficient game if I've ever seen it. Our Akron Zips team came into this game with a record of 13-15. We absolutely just showed a dominating performance offensively and defensively. Offensively, we had 9 runs off of 10 hits. And defensively, we only allowed them to get 5 hits and 1 run. So, I mean, our team was just firing on all cylinders this game. And we got out in only 5 innings. So, I mean, clearly they were just amped up, wanting to go home. So, what do you have to say about this game?
Yeah, I mean, as you mentioned there, just a great overall game for the Zips here. Macy Walters, I think, did a phenomenal job. She's 3-3 on the season. She only had 3 strikeouts in this game, which usually you want to see a few more from your starting pitcher.
Yeah.
But aside from that, probably a bigger thing is that she recorded no walks, which I think was huge. She was keeping the ball in the strike zone, and then on top of that, just doing a great job of keeping the ball on the ground, allowing the defense behind her to make some routine plays and just get themselves out of the inning quickly. On the offensive side, Sophia Weigas had a great game. She had a solo home run to go along with the double. Alexis Campbell, with that, added on a double, and then 6 stolen bases overall for the team. So just looking at it from an overall standpoint, a solid day on defense, a solid day on offense, and just great base running overall. They did exactly what they needed to do. As we've said, 10 hits, 9 runs, pretty efficient softball if you ask me. And on top of that, I think the biggest key to this game was just capitalizing on the errors that Cleveland State made.
Yeah.
I mean, they had 4 errors, which allowed the 3 runs the Zips had in the first and the 4 in the fourth. Really came off. I know there were a few dropped fly balls, some infield errors that just allowed for some easy runs. I mean, we'll take those. It's just part of the game. It's how it goes. And they got out of this game pretty quick. And got a nice confidence boost going forward as they finish out this season.
Yeah, coming up next for this team, they have a game against a 3-game series against Miami. Miami is the top of the conference. I don't think they've lost yet in the conference. So that game should be interesting, to say the least. We hope to see them win at least 1 game of that series. And now we're going to take it into our first commercial break. But after that, we were going to be talking about the baseball team. So stay tuned.
You're watching ZTV.
When I was in foster care, I never knew when I would have to move. So I always had my suitcase ready to go. Then one day, I was adopted. My new parents opened their hearts and home to me. My parents cook my favorite breakfast for me every morning. My parents take me on trips I never thought I would go on. They gave me a home and an even better reason to use that suitcase. My parents aren't perfect, but they're perfect for me.
Welcome back. It is time to talk about the baseball team, so let's take it over to Matt, who covered their recent game against Youngstown State.
What is good, everyone? Matt here, and in this episode, I'll be talking about the men's baseball game against the Youngstown Penguins, which took place at Skills Field on April 3rd. Now, without further ado, let's get into it, shall we? The game started off with freshman Evan Batone swinging the ball, but got grounded to second base. Right after, Jack Poise swung the bat with accurate precision and contact, landing the ball to center field. On the bottom of the second inning, Sam Seeker swung the ball to the right center after originally going out of bounds. Right when we thought this game wasn't going anywhere, this happened. Junior Michael Sprocket singled to the center field with a scored assistance by Sam Seeker, getting the Zips on the board with a 1-0 lead. However, the Pigeons would catch up and Alejandro Covis would take the cake with the triple to the right field, getting the score up to 3-1 with the Zips falling behind. Though I was none too pleased about how this game was going, the 4th inning treated the Zips well. Nicky Sackett scored a home run while Sam Seeker advanced to third base and then scored a home run tying both teams. On the top of the 5th, Covis swung the bat to left field, breaking the tie once more. After some hits and misses, the Zips tragically lost to the Penguins in a close-knit game with the final box score being 4-3. Despite the loss, let's see what the Zips can bring for the remainder of their season. This is Matt with your ZTV Sports Report, and as always, go Zips.
Thank you, Matt. Well, Zach, this baseball team just can't seem to find their footing at all this season, and they really confuse me because earlier in the season they beat Duke. Like, who thought we could do that? But anyways, so now we come into this game with a record of 5-21, which isn't that good. And we're playing Youngstown State, who was at the time of this game 3-23 on the season, so not really good either. And we lost. So, not really sure at all what happened with them this game, but because I would think that we'd be able to win this game. But, I guess the baseball team had other plans. Both teams went through a ridiculous amount of pitchers. Like, you should not go through more than maybe, 3 pitchers. Like, I know it's a midweek game, but, please be able to find a pitcher that can get through more than, 4 innings without completely just combusting. Please. But anyways, what did you have to say about this game?
Yeah, I mean, you've already said a lot of what I was thinking, but just in addition to that, looking at the schedule as a whole, when I see a game like Youngstown State come up, to me it immediately registers as an easy win, and I know that's it's kind of, I don't know, hard to say, kind of a bad thing to say, because no win is really ever an easy win, because on any given day you could have a sloppy game, you have a bad game, you could lose to anybody. It really just depends. But that being said, it did feel like a game that was it was just a must-win, an easy win for us, considering all the games that we still have to play, all the conference games that we have, just how much they've been struggling right now. It felt like a game the Zips team needed to come away with a win in.
Yeah.
And they weren't able to do it. One of the biggest things I see looking at this game was that just not a lot of production. 6 hits. Youngstown State at 9. 4-3 overall. Just not a lot of scoring. Just a lot of back and forth. Just bad defense. Akron got the game going in the second with a run, but then Youngstown State jumped on top in the third with 3 innings. And as has been the case this season, the biggest struggle I see with this team is either 1, keeping the lead, or 2, getting the lead.
Yeah.
They really haven't been able to do that in many games. This game was no different. Youngstown State got on top. Then the Zips just some sloppy offense overall. Not what we want to see on the defensive side. I mean, Griffith only had 1 strikeout through 4 innings, gave up 3 runs, and then that poor play just ended up leaking the rest of the team. I feel like they were all kind of just all dragging slightly behind. Just it didn't seem like they came ready to play. It seemed like in a lot of ways they underestimated the Youngstown State team.
Yeah,
I think they thought it would be a pretty easy win. They didn't have to do a whole lot. I mean, it is a midweek game after all. But at the end of the day, they needed to do a lot more, and they have to do a lot more if they ever want to be a good baseball team.
Yeah. I mean, we have a lot of returning players on this team, so, you would think they would kind of have, a connection. Even with a new coach, you still know who you're playing with. So I think they just really need to figure out how to get their batting going way sooner. They cannot really take a chance and not score until the second or third inning anymore, especially as we go deeper into conference play. we're last in the conference right now, holding everybody else up. So I really just hope we can find a couple more wins, because this is just not at all the season you'd like to see. I mean, I know we have a new coach, but at a certain point that can't really be an excuse anymore. So now we are going to take it in, do our second commercial break, but after that we are going to talk about the lacrosse team. So stay tuned.
You're watching ZTV.
How prepared is your family if disaster shows up at your doorstep? You can't just turn away a natural disaster. That's why it's important to go to ready.gov/plan before they show up. It has the tools and tips you need to make an emergency plan with your family. So if disaster comes knocking,
let's go.
You'll be ready to help keep your family safe.
It's just a pizza.
Yes!
Make a plan today.
Welcome back. We are going to conclude today's episode by talking about the lacrosse team, so let's take it over to Katie and see what she thought of her and her teammates' performances against Eastern Michigan.
What's up, everyone? It's Katie Bomber here with the ZTV Sports Report. Today I'm going to be talking everything Zips women's lacrosse in their recent matchup against Eastern Michigan at Infocision Stadium on Sunday. Despite the late rally from Akron lacrosse team, they fell just short to the Mid-American Conference opponent 11-10. These teams faced each other once last year late in the season, and the Zips were able to pull out a 1-goal win, but this year the Eagles built a 4-goal halftime lead and had to hang on to secure the win. The Zips rallied late in the game to close the gap, and here's how it happened. Eastern Michigan jumped out to a quick 2-0 lead as the Eagles won the draw control, advanced into the offense zone, and scored. Mackenzie Blackwell got the visitors on the board first with her strike before Sydney Lawrence added a goal off a Blackwell pass to make it 2-0. The Zips mirrored the Eagles with 2 consecutive draw wins by senior Noelle Boyd and sophomore Katie Bomber, and then added 2 unassisted goals by Sienna Hinchcliffe and Jalen Clinkscales. Before Eagles' Kelsey Daig scored for a 3-2 lead. The Zips responded once again by an unassisted goal from sophomore Vasey Vale and tied things at 3 apiece at the end of the first quarter. Akron's defense came out strong in the second quarter, gaining 3 consecutive caused turnovers in the midfield. It was a sloppy start to the second quarter for the Eagles as they could not possess the ball. After consecutive turnovers and a timeout called, the Eagles regrouped and went on a 5-goal scoring streak to build an 8-3 advantage. During the offensive run, Eastern received 2 goals from Avery Schwab. Zips' Noelle Boyd added 1 goal with 17 seconds left before the break. The Zips headed to the locker room trailing 8-4. The Zips added a goal to open the third as the Zips defense held the Eagles to only 1 goal in the entire third quarter, making it 9-5 heading into the final quarter. With 5:15 remaining in the game, the Zips made it interesting by going on a 3-0 run by goals from freshman Hinchcliffe, junior Clinkscales, and sophomore Bomber. Akron could not close the gap, and the Eagles claimed the 11-10 win. This has been Katie with the ZTV Sports Report. Go Zips!
Thank you, Katie. Well, this lacrosse team is in a way better position than they were last season. I think they just really like their new coach a lot more and are just really bonding with her a lot more than they did the old coach. And they just really have a lot more confidence in each other because, as you've been saying, they haven't had a lot of the injuries that they did that was just like continuously switching up the lineups last season. And I think this just really helped them be as successful as they are. Our record is 5-7, which is a lot better than last season. And we just played really well in this Eastern Michigan game, stayed in it the entire time. Sadly, the Eastern Michigan Eagles soared past us to win 11-10, which isn't what we like to see. But I mean, we had so many scorers this game. Our leading scorers, though, were Hinchcliffe with three goals, Boyd with 2 points, and Clinkscales with 2 points as well. And we have to give a shout out to Katie Bomber. She once again got another goal. I think that was for us, honestly. Like, she wanted us to mention her again. So, Zach, what did you have to say about this game?
Yeah, I mean, as you mentioned, this team is playing a lot better this season than we were seeing last season. I think a big reason for that has just been this newfound sense of just aggressiveness, energy, just drive to stay in the game. Because looking at a game like this, it was pretty back and forth, but going into halftime, Eastern was up 8-4, and this team last year, from my opinion, would have folded at this point. Wouldn't have put a huge effort into the second half. They tended to back off last season, but this season, even when it seems down and out, this team looks like they believe in themselves and each other. It seems like they have a never say die attitude. They're always going after it. Even when they're tired and exhausted, they're still running the full length of the field, playing some good defense, getting the ball back down the other way. And they said this was no different. They evened it up in the third period with the goal piece, but then in the fourth, they had 5. And then that led to an 11-10 game. It came down to the wire. The Zips were really trying to come back there at the end. I know they had 1 goal near the end. They scored in like 3 seconds, an absolutely insane sequence. And had they been able to get things, had they been able to get this comeback a little faster, we potentially could have saw overtime or a potential a win snuck in there at the end. But like overall, I can't be upset about it. It was a great game to watch. Pretty even across the board. 24 shots Eastern, 23 from Akron, 10 saves from Eastern, 6 from Akron. Pretty balanced game overall. It's the type of game I like to see. It gives me a lot of hope and promise, not only to this season but to the future. Because 5-7. I expected a couple more wins, a slight improvement from last season. They're honestly blowing my expectations out from what I was expecting, which is a great thing because this, to me, was expected to be a rebuilding year, but they're doing far better than that, and I'm just excited to see how the future of lacrosse pans out.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, as you mentioned, the goalies in this game absolutely put on a show. Definitely did their jobs. I'm very impressed with our goalie. I'm really excited to see what they do the rest of the season. And I think they may even make it to the MAC championship.
Yeah, definitely.
So that'll be it for today's episode. As always, don't forget to follow us on Instagram and X at ZTV Sports and on YouTube at ZTV Sports Report. As always, I'm Megan Williams.
And I'm Zach Leininger.
Thanks for watching, and go Zips!
This program was produced by ZTV at the University of Akron. Do you want to gain experience in video production, professional social media, or working with real clients? Visit the UA School of Communications online or follow us on social media to learn more. ZTV, make media, make a difference.